Welcome to the 61st episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. Welcome to returning viewers, and for those of you watching us for the first time, we're glad you could join us. We have a good podcast for you today, lots of things to discuss because it's been a little while. But before we begin, Colleen's going to talk about what we're wearing.
What May is wearing is the Agent 99 cowl by Donna Mawer, and I've knit you a couple of these, but this one we decided to use the Hudson Bay colors because May is such a fan. And this is that Berroco Comfort. It's beautiful yarn. It's 50% nylon and 50% acrylic, so it feels really nice.
It does feel soft,
and it looks really good on you. The white kind of brightens you up, and then the colors are really nice, especially with that blouse that you've got on.
Yeah, thanks.
It looks great.
Thank you.
So that's what May is wearing, and what I'm wearing is something called the Easy Goes It by Finicky Creations, and it is a one skein shawl. And we like those because
I like one skein shawls. They just don't seem to be overpowering with yarn.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can be buried in yarn.
And I've been known to go to a yarn store, fall in love with a skein of yarn, and bring it home and go, don't know what I'm going to do with that. So one skein shawls are brilliant. Now this is Mountain Colors, and this comes from A Piece of You, which you spelled E-W-E. It's a yarn store that's in Bay City, Michigan. We were there just a little over a year ago. It's hard to believe. Life has changed so much. And they do a color for the tall ships. And this is the 2019 color. And I love it. And this did not look at all like this when it was in the skein.
No.
And what was really nice for me is in the yarn store they had a sample knit up. And so it was easy to see, oh, that's what it's going to do. So I love that it's blue, but there's a little bit of brown in there, and I have a few brown shirts, so I could wear that. So I'm really, really liking it. It's very comfy, and the yarn is beautiful.
And it goes nice with that shirt color you have on.
Thank you.
Nice. That's good.
Thanks so much. So that's what I'm wearing, and next we're going to talk about finished objects. My first finished object is the Snuggle is Real cowl. And that's by Maxim Cyr. That's C-Y-R. And it is beautiful, and it's going to be warm and cozy. You and I have talked about getting out and walking in the snow. We haven't done it yet, but we're talking about it anyway.
But I have a new camera that I'm going to show you in
brilliant.
Souvenirs.
Yeah.
And that new camera, I'll show you how that's going to work
Oh,
with us going out
excellent.
walking. So
okay, so there's 3 yarns that I used. One is a skein that's called Heather Sport, and that is Essence of Autumn yarn. So it is kind of got a multitude of colors in it. The gray color is Berroco Vintage DK. And then what's inside, which is so soft and cuddly, is Sugar Bush Bliss. And it has merino, mulberry silk, and cashmere. And
of course, cashmere.
We have to have cashmere. So here it is.
Wow, this turned out great. Look at that.
I really like it.
Nice.
Now, it's not something you're going to be wearing inside unless inside's fairly cold, because I think it's going to be really nice and warm. But I love the colors. You and I have talked about, we're not so sure about me wearing gray. That's a whole other conversation.
So this has got some nice blue in there, like a greeny blue.
Tealy blue. Yeah, I really, really like it. So inside...
Oh, I can't believe that you did... Was this hard to do?
You know what? The pattern is brilliant. And if anybody, there's... I know Hippie Strings is a yarn store out near Grand Prairie, Alberta, and they have kits to this, and it's really, really nice.
You could really use this in Alberta. This would be so warm. It just got some weight to it.
Exactly.
And with the lining that you did,
I really like
absolutely
it.
amazing.
So you can use mohair for the lining. I'm not sure I could wear mohair quite so against my skin. So this has got merino and cashmere and mulberry silk.
It's very soft. This is going to be great when we're out in those snow blazers that we're going to walk in.
That's a whole other conversation. We're not
now
sure
I can't
about
wait
that.
for snow. I can't believe I'm saying those words.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
That's going to be great.
So that's my first finished object. And my next one is the Myra hat. And that's by Knox Mountain Knit Co. And the Cozy Up Knits, the 4 sisters from Grand Prairie, Alberta, who I love, they've knit a lot of these. And so I decided I would do the same. I'll let you hold that up.
What do they do with them?
They wear them all the time. They seem to wear hats all the time.
Well, in Alberta, it's a lot cooler.
It is. And this is Knit Picks City Tweed DK. And I really like it. I made a sweater and I've got extra, so we've made some Christmas presents. This one is not. Now, the question is all about pom-poms. You and I had the debate, do I wear a pom-pom? Do I not put a pom-pom? So I'm still in the debate. And the nice thing is you can finish a hat, put the pom-pom on later. But right now, that feels really comfy on. And I love the pattern. It's really, really
like
nice.
that pattern. Now, the thing is, Colleen, if you do a pom-pom that you can put on and take off,
yes,
then you can wear a pom-pom one day and the next day don't.
Isn't she brilliant? That's why she's here.
Idea.
That's why she's here. And I have pom-poms. I've got about 5 or 6 pom-poms that I could use.
Right. And you did a button thing with another pom-pom last month, I think.
I did.
Where you could just unhook it.
Exactly.
There.
Exactly. So that's a possibility.
And then you look like you've got 2 hats.
The other thing I might do is the grocery girls sell some pom-poms, and they have it so that it is tied up with ribbon. Oh. And so you just put the ribbon through and tie it on.
Nice.
So that's a possibility
Very
too.
soft.
Yes, it's really, really nice. I really like that.
We're all set for those walks.
We are. So another hat, and this is the little pine tree hat. And that's designed by Cozy Up Knits that I mentioned before. And this was a collaboration with Rose Hill Yarns. And this is the classic Christmas set. So it came with a full skein of DK and then the colors to do. So.
Did you buy this as a kit? I'm not understanding.
I did. Now, you could buy this as a kit that had a pom-pom and a mug with it. And I decided...
You don't need a mug.
I don't need a mug.
Gosh, if you could see our
and I had some pom-poms. So I decided, then she just put out the kits just for the yarn, and I'm happy with that. So my mom had given me some money for my birthday. This is what I did. And so I've shown her the hat. She really, really likes it. I do as well. Now this needs to be blocked. It's not too ripply. Sometimes color work can do that. But I really like this. I like the crown decreases. I love the pattern. They've done a great job putting that together. And the nice thing about the kit is it comes with enough yarn to make a pair of mitts.
Wow.
So that's my next job, is to make a pair of mitts.
Colors are very unique. Like,
they are.
But it works.
Exactly. I really, really like it.
Yeah. And you've mentioned blocking, you've mentioned color work. Mm-hmm. We haven't had the opportunity in time. We've been just busy doing little things. But those are 2 things that we're going to videotape you blocking.
Yeah.
So maybe this is one of the items we can show.
I think that's a great idea.
And maybe color work, if you can show you doing some color work. One of the
Absolutely.
viewers have mentioned that they would like to see that, and I think that's something that
I can maybe do that with the mittens.
I say we could do.
She's the
I use that term loosely.
She's the photographer.
Yes.
Me, I just got to get my hands going. That's good.
Yeah, so that's something we could do. But that turned out nice.
I really, really like it.
Yeah.
All right. So I decided for the last 2 years, I had purchased an advent calendar full of yarn. And I get them, and then I think I don't really know what to do with them. So I thought this year I wouldn't do that. I would buy from the Cozy Knitter the 2020 Advent 24 stripe skein. And this is Bliss yarn. Beautiful yarn, by the way. So I didn't know what the colors were going to be. I didn't know what the stripes were going to be.
Is that the fun of it?
That's half the fun of it. So, well, that's a lot of the fun of it. Anyway, they say if you knit a stripe or a little bit each day, you'll end up with a pair of socks by the time it gets to be Christmas. I seem to talk with my hands all the time. That's okay. It's what I do. So what has happened, and I did go on Ravelry before I did this. So I know there are pictures on Ravelry that the skeins have been shown. So you would have had to wind it into a cake.
You don't feel like this is a spoiler?
I don't. If you haven't got very far, and then we'll call it a spoiler. Okay. Thank you for that. But I did go in and check, so I just want you to know that I did.
But if you don't want to see this, turn off your YouTube.
Well, don't turn us off. Just turn away. We'll be good. So it's very interesting in my life that, as I've mentioned before, I have small feet. So when I was thinking about this, I thought, well, I don't know how much yarn I'm going to have. So I was able to finish the first pair of socks, and I'll let you hold those up. Now, in some ways, I am calling this my Frankenstein socks, or my Franken socks, as it were, because I kind of put things together. So it is a vanilla sock, so it's just plain. And the Cozy Up Knits folks were making a sock, and they did just one row of slipped stitches. Every other stitch is slipped, and it makes this lovely pattern on it, which I really, really like. So I did that. Then the question is, what am I going to do for a contrast heel and contrast toes? And you know I've had issues with toes, but here we go. So what I did first of all was I took the heel is from the Umbrella Socks by KF Jones. So I did that. So that is the Umbrella Socks, and it's the umbrella heel. And the
umbrella toe and the umbrella heel.
Nope, I didn't do umbrella toe.
So
just the umbrella heel.
Okay.
That's it. So I did that, and I love how that comes out. So it is an afterthought heel, but it's just a different way of doing it. And then I had made a pair of socks, which I showed you last time, which were the Leo&Roxy anniversary socks. And I found that I really liked KF Jones Cottage Toe. And this is the cottage toe. My toes don't work like a pointy thing, so that's what I did. So that's when I call it my Franken socks. It's kind of a whole mixture of things, but I really, really like how these are. Now, that is a full pair of socks, and I had a whole lot of yarn left. So when we go into works in progress, you're going to see how much more. I thought I'll just make another shorty pair of socks because I'll have that much. And then lo and behold, you'll see what happens.
You had enough to...
Well, I have lots.
Don't say yes.
It's a surprise. There we go.
I know Colleen, and I know you take great pride in having those be like a perfect match. Those stripes, you know how hard that to be? How hard is that?
Well, I have to tell you, it's not as hard as you think.
Oh, okay.
Because
it just looks hard.
The Cozy Knitter gives you 2 skeins.
All right.
So 2 50-gram skeins. I think they were 50 gram. Let me just see what it says. No, I'm lying to you. 2 60-gram skeins, I think. Oh, maybe 2 50-gram skeins because there was the other part as well. And so they were already separated. They already were to match. Now, you do have to kind of measure, I'm going to cast on, where do I cast on, so you get as close as you can. So you have to give me a little bit of credit, but maybe not as much as you were.
You totally lied to me and said, oh, that's so difficult. And I would have went, whoa, I would not have known that. So that's
absolutely
very nice. Thanks for being honest.
Well, there you go. So I'm really, really happy with those. I'm going to wear them around the house.
And you know, they look to me, when I first saw them, I thought they looked really rustic, like they would have felt rustic. But then when I feel them, they're not rustic at all. They're very
beautiful.
soft.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are my finished objects. And May, how about you? Finished object?
Well, I have been busy, and that's why we haven't been putting up the podcast,
right.
Because we get involved in other things, of course. Right. Now, the painting behind's an old painting. I've painted that before, but it's beautiful. It's definitely a finished object. It's been finished for a long time. I'm still working on my little beds. I know this is going to feel repetitive because I had some beds last podcast, but they keep selling in my little store because I think it's Christmas.
Right,
so that's been keeping me busy. So I've had to make a couple more.
Some little ones want.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then that Colleen has to do the sewing for the.
There we go.
And Colleen's busy with math sewing. You're busy with making little pillows and little bedding for this. So,
but I have to be honest with you. I enjoy that we're working on it together, first of all, and second of all, I enjoy that it gives me my hands a little bit of break from knitting, because I love knitting and I could sit all day and knit, but my hands would not be happy with it.
And your sewing is just quite as nice as your knitting is.
She's so sweet. Yep, very nice. Thank you.
It's true, and so anyway, it's like you're gifted. That's all. Anyway, those were my finished objects, Colleen.
Great. And next we're going to talk about works in progress. My first work in progress is a pair of socks that was supposed to be a shorty pair of socks. It's not a shorty pair.
Do you think it's because you have such small feet that these are...
Well, I've started knitting 56 stitch socks. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is I am between a 5 and a 6, usually a 5 or 5.5. And so that means that I don't need that much to do. So I have left to finish the stripe that those are on, and I have really 2 more stripes to do. And so these are going to be not much shorter, maybe about this much shorter than the other ones. But I've done them differently. So instead of doing a 2x2 rib, I did a 1x1 rib, because when I started, they were going to be shorty socks. And then I started knitting and I thought, no, there's lots of yarn left. So right now the big debate is, do I have enough of the cream colored yarn to make heels and toes? I don't know. I will make it the same as I did the ones that I showed in my finished objects.
It might be nice to make a different color of heel and toe if that's possible.
It could be. So I'm going to need you, because you always help me with colors. I'll just have to figure out what color would go with everything. And I didn't do the slip stitch on this one. It makes quite a difference, actually. So it's nice. I'm going to have 2 pairs of socks that basically look the same, because the other ones kind of started just a little bit bigger than that. And then away we go. So they're going to match, but not match. And there we go.
Nice.
Exactly. So that's going to be 2 pairs of socks for me out of one advent. And that's impressive. So I'm very happy with that. Now, my second work in progress is actually a hoe. And what that is, it is a mitten. And do you want to model it? You can
I'd
put it
love
on
to.
if you'd like to. So this comes from the Saltwater Mittens book, which I mentioned the last time we had it. Now, my hands are smaller than me, so but it's okay.
Yeah.
I may not have to block them because she's doing it for me. But these are called the Mummers Mittens. And there's a whole story about mummers in that book. I'm using 2 yarns. So the black is Estelle double knit, and the gray is a beautiful gray. So it's on Merino DK, Leo&Roxy, and it's called Meredith. And I have a niece who is Meredith, and so that's part of the reason why I want to do this. Yes, I love the contrast, and I have made them so they fit my hands. Small feet, small hands, there you go.
That's
so
cute.
I really like it. So now I'm going to sit and I have to do the other one. But this one, there's patterns to watch. So this is not really a sit in front of the TV watching.
You have to really, because
Yeah.
I imagine those little details are difficult a little bit.
You know, it's not, but you have to know, you have to keep a spot on, and it's not the same here as it is when it turns around, and so there's lots.
I see.
But the pattern is brilliant. Like that book I would recommend, absolutely, because there's all kinds of different mittens, and they do those things called trigger mitts, which means there's this part of the mitt, and then this finger is a separate, and then the thumb
So
separate.
you can grab things and...
Exactly.
I like those.
Exactly. So I'm really, really happy with that.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
All right, so one more to do on those. Now, my next work in progress is a shawl, and it is based roughly on the Bolinas shawl, and that's by Cassie Munksgard.
Now, is this one skein or more?
This is, I bought a sock set, so it's 100 grams plus 20 grams, and here it is. So this is called Lizzie Ann Yarns, and it's the Blossom Sock set. So here is the part that is the this main color, which does look like flowers, and then the contrast was this kind of purpley mauvey color. So what I did was in the pattern there were 5 of these individual things, so I chose those and I did them that way just from that pattern, and then there wasn't obviously enough left to do any more, and so I'm just going to keep using this up until I'm done, and then it'll be a smaller shawl than that one, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, nice colors. Different.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I brought this up and I said, May, I can make a pair of socks with that. And we both looked and went, no, it's too pretty.
nice for socks.
Don't make socks with that. So you can have pretty socks, don't get me wrong. But we decided to do that. And I think it's going to be nice and cozy as a shawl.
Different colors. It's very nice.
Exactly. So that's that.
Good. You've been
Now,
very busy again.
You know, just a little bit. So now my last one comes from the Bakery Bears. So KF Jones, or Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, she is doing an Advent pattern. And if you're a Patreon, and I'm going to say, I don't often say, well, you really should, but this is one where I think you just look into it. There's all different levels that you can put in for, and you get a lot for it. There's a magazine, and they do all kinds of tutorials, and they do all kinds of extra bits to their podcast. So what I would suggest is go to their podcast, give it a watch, see what you think, and then take a look at whether you want to be become a Patreon. So I am, and I put in a little every month, and I've really been happy. Like, I get a lot for my money, so it makes me really happy. So this pattern is one that, because I'm a Patreon, I can do. And so the idea was you needed to have 10 mini skeins. And I tried 2 different ways of getting them. And I got beautiful colors, but in the end, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. So what I'm actually doing is using 1 skein of Juniper Moon Farm Harriet Fine, and that's that kind of snow white color. And the purple is Sweet Paprika Crescendo mini skein sets. Now it comes with 6, and I'm only going to be using 5. So I'm on my 3rd one of the purple. And so every 2 days you get another clue, and you knit that clue up, and then the next one you do that. So I probably just a little, 2, 4, 5, it's probably halfway through, so I think it's going to be a nice comfy cowl. And it's neat because you're learning different techniques and learning different stitch patterns, and so I'm really, really enjoying it. And it's nice because it comes every 2 days, then you think, okay, I've got 2 days to get that part done, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at it here. You can see all the different stitches that you've done. Like
Exactly.
Each one is a different kind of a lot of details on a different kind of
Exactly.
stitch.
And there's a story behind every one of the stitch patterns, which is kind of nice. It makes it a fun advent.
And it's not something that you would normally do, so which makes it kind of fun too. to have
Exactly.
different-
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with
Yeah.
it.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Love the purple in it.
Well, you know, it's purple. It's me, and it's purple. All right, May, those are my works in progress. Do you have any works in progress?
Now that I'm a knitter,
Now that you're a knitter, absolutely.
I hope you got a chance to see Colleen teaching me how to knit. That was kind of fun.
It was fun.
And some of you and a lot of you have asked what's on my knitting needles and what am I going to knit next, or if I am going to knit next. And you know, there's so much going on with Christmas and doing other things right now that there's nothing on my knitting needles. But that's not to say that I would never do it again.
Oh, good.
Because it was a good experience.
Okay.
And
You
were
heard
very
it
patient.
here. It's on tape. This is good news. So my
Maybe
job,
next year.
what's my job?
Your job is to find something, I bet you, for me to knit.
Yes, I'll find her a
Yes.
nice pattern.
I
That's
know
what I'll
she
do.
will. I know she will.
Yes, and I have lots of knitting needles that I can share.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't really have anything on the go, but I do have one works in progress, and that is what I'm doing right now. And I kind of want to inspire you to maybe do something like this. Pick something that you love. Like my mom is she's cooked all these years, very basic ingredients. And I wanted to duplicate some of her stuff, but it's not really in recipes, it's in her head. So what I decided to do was talk to my mom and get her pinned down to putting in a recipe, and actually what she's doing, she said it was very painful. So for example, I made soup, and I asked her to write down a recipe. She goes, throw anything in it. Just throw everything in it. And I'm like, yeah, but I want it to taste like your soup. How do I do that? So I want specific instructions. So it's been kind of a comedy act, really.
Yes.
So I'm planning on making this calendar.
Yes.
And putting 12 of my mom's recipes that I remember into this calendar. And then by the end of it, I can give it to my mom's grandkids and my son, so because they'll remember those flavors and those tastes and how did she get those.
Exactly.
So it's been quite the experience, because I'm just going to give you a little example. My mom, there's my great grandmother who made these pancakes, and my mom will always say, the one time she said, tried to do this before, she said a cup of milk and a cup of flour, and I said, oh, okay. So, and I'm not the Jill of all trades, Jack of none. I'm not the most experienced cook. I'm not really a cook, I would say. Like, you do most of the cooking.
That's true.
So, cup of milk, flour. So I followed my mom's instructions. Like, they don't really taste like Granny Gillen's pancakes, Mom. Well, did you use self-raising flour, and did you put the sugar in it? And I'm like, you didn't really mention any sugar. You have to put the sugar in. Okay. So then I make them again. Sugar, cup of flour, cup of milk. Self-raising flour. Mom, it still doesn't taste. Well, did you have the salt? I'm like, okay, I gotta have patience here. So this is how it's been going with. I've made about 3 or 4 dishes already.
You've done a great job.
And I'm looking forward to finishing up this calendar with all my mom's recipes at the end of it. So it's going to be fun. The process has been a little bit painful.
It is. But the good thing is that May is making the recipes.
Yes.
And that's the good thing, because she had a bit of a soup incident, which I'll let her explain.
Well, I wasn't going to really tell you this, but now that Colleen's opened the can of worms.
It's all my fault.
I've been talking back and forth with my mom on the phone and I'm saying, how do I do this? So making the soup, she says, put the shank in and boil the shank and whatever else I needed to do. Put an onion and some carrot in it and boil it. So I did. And I thought, I said to Colleen, my mom used to make, you were downstairs for a little bit.
I was.
My mom used to make a great big pot of soup. There's only like this much soup. Colleen says, did you boil it or with the lid on it? And I'm like, no. Colleen goes,
I said, you need to call your mom. I think you maybe need to have left the lid on.
So I call my mom and I said, Mom, my mom said, oh, for goodness sake, what's wrong with you? Anyway, it was pretty funny. We will get through this, and by the end of it, it's going to be beautiful, I'm sure.
That's right.
But my thing to you is, to inspire you, is like you could do this with so many things. To get us through this COVID, this winter, hunkering down, so you don't feel alone in this. And Christmas is coming. People are on their own, and it gives you something else to think about. That's positive, that you could share with other people, and then you're not alone. You still got us, but you're not alone.
That's right.
So, for example, I know maybe cooking and recipes are not your thing, because they're certainly not mine, but I'm doing this for my mom. But you could do, let's say you're into yarn, say my favorite socks that I've knit, and do a whole calendar of favorite socks.
Oh, that's a good
idea. You could do, if you're into puppies, you could do, anything your puppy does. My puppy, you could have a theme for things that you've done around the house, just a reminder of 2020 and some things that bring you joy.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
You could do just pictures of vegetables, just pictures of soups, just pictures of...
that's a great idea.
Yeah. So, and you don't really need fancy cameras and fancy equipment. If you just have a little camera around, it doesn't have to be a big, beautiful camera. You can go to these stores like Costco or Walmart, things to where you can get things developed. Now they're very inexpensive.
Maybe Vistaprint is something you could do online. Yeah.
Vistaprint sometimes has deals.
Yep.
But you could do all kinds of things that you could think of. So it would be interesting to see what you would pick. You could even do the grandkids and the crafts that they've done, and just photograph all the crafts that the grandkids have done. So then you have, a running history of it.
That's a fantastic idea.
Because I still pick out things that my son has done. I still got things, but it would have been nice to have them all in one space. So there's a million ideas out there of you to do that, and the price. My son says, Mom, nobody buys calendars anymore. And he's right, everybody uses their phone. But I was thinking a book is too much. It's a little overwhelming. You can have 12 just awesome photos. So you only have to pare it down to 12, which is reasonable.
Absolutely.
And just get you thinking something else rather than COVID and being hunkered down. Although there is good news with that vaccine. I'm really excited about that.
That's right.
And then we'll start getting life back to normal again.
Exactly.
So. But anyway, we've got to get through this together, and we will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just one of the other ideas.
Excellent. So those are our works in progress, and next we're going to talk about our crafting adventure.
Well, Colleen, I know we've been busy.
Yes, we have.
And I know you've been extremely busy. Just wondering what your craft is all about.
All right. So I've got two things to show you. Now, the first one, I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea. So we had some Christmas tea towels, more like an actual towel, and we were trying to make some gifts, and we were wondering maybe we could sell something in your little store. And so I said to May, let me just see how it goes. So what we did is we made this that hangs on the oven door.
And when Colleen says we didn't do this. You did. I had nothing to do with this. Just to be clear.
She did it. No. So anyway,
I just thought it was a great idea.
Yeah. So we decided to make them. So what you do, I'm just going to give you the heads up.
We do have two on our stove, and we always drying our hands on those.
All the time.
So we got them as a gift a couple of years ago, actually. Exactly. And they wash really well. And
yeah, absolutely.
And we dry our hands. So we thought it would be nice that you could do that.
Exactly. So I took the towel. Now you have to be careful about the directionality of the towel, but we were okay with what we had. So I took this tea towel and divided it in half. So I cut it and measured it and cut it in half. Now I have a serger, so I went over the end. If you didn't have a serger but you had a sewing machine, you could zigzag over top of it. It just finishes it off nicely. So that's step one. Then the second step is you have to get something that's going to make holes, because you have to put your, I did this with crochet, to put it through, it's too hard. So you pre-make these holes.
There's actually a thing for that, isn't there?
There is, and it's called an awl, and I'll have May put in a picture right here. And that puts the holes in, and then, and the trick is, and I got this from watching a video, is you only do 3 holes at a time, because the holes kind of close up as you get near them. So you make the holes and you work your way across. So then what happens is, so this, lo and behold, becomes this.
There you go.
So there's a little bit of working with single crochet, double crochet, some increases and decreases, and then this part flips over and you have to sew on a button, and then you don't actually have to make a buttonhole because there's enough space in between, and then that will sit and hang on your stove.
So handy. Now you've made some nice ones too that aren't Christmassy. They're just
Exactly.
gray and white. So,
Yeah.
and you know, so if you do see a fancy tea towel out there, which we see a lot on our travels now that we've
Absolutely,
been doing
that's
this,
right.
you can just pick one of those up and do this. Like
Exactly.
if you're a crocheter, or
Exactly.
can you knit this too?
Yes,
Or just,
if you go online, you can find some that it's knitting. I was trying to find something that would change the muscles I'm using in my hand a little bit, just to give them a rest.
now
And I'm really happy with
ones
this.
we have are more wool yarn. Like
Right,
This
and-
is nice because it's cotton that you used here, I think.
So this is Bernat Handicrafter. It's a little tricky to find right now. I said to May all the time, in the grocery store, there's things that you think, why isn't that there? May's mom has wanted some self-rising flour, and
That's not there either.
that's not there either.
But
So
you know what? I went into a store the other day, this kind of like industrial store, TCS or TSC. whatever-
TSC?
TSC
yeah.
store, and it's got, saws and everything else. And lo and behold, I came home and I said to Colleen, guess what they had there? They had this yarn in
Yes,
that store.
they did.
Didn't they?
It was in some strange colors, but they did have it.
I
Yep.
couldn't believe I was seeing in
Yeah.
that.
May said, I'm sure.
In amongst all the wrenches and stuff like that, here's some yarn. Who knew?
Exactly.
Yeah. So they turned out nice. So those will be a great gift.
So that's my first craft. Now my second craft comes out of need. Well, maybe not need. But anyway, want. So when I was making that mummer's mitt, I needed to use DPNs, and I didn't want things to slide because metal ones would slide. So I purchased at the Little Red Mitten some Knitter's Pride Dreams. And I said to May, oh my goodness, these are beautiful. They are so light and things don't slip. And because she was tired of hearing me go, ugh, because I had dropped the needle had flown out of what I was doing. And so in talking with her about Christmas, I said, that would be great if I could get some more of those. And so I have ordered some. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we hope they get here by Christmas. We just don't know. So what that means is I'm going to need a place to put them. And so Erica Arndt, ARNDT, has all kinds of sewing videos. And she had one of how to make a roll for your knitting needles. You can use this roll to do circular needles, double pointed needles, regular needles, just depends on the size. So that afternoon while May was making the soup and I was downstairs sewing, this is what I was sewing. So it's beautiful. It becomes this roll. I've used some quilted batting in there. I have one set of needles in there because that's the one that I was using for the mittens.
That's really nice.
And I'm really, really happy with it. I love the fabric. We got that on one of our adventures.
It's so professionally done.
Oh,
and the
thank
quilting
you.
makes it feel really good. You're so good at this.
Thank you.
What a great thing for you. And it's got 2 spots.
Yeah,
Like,
there
you
are.
can
There's
put
2
them in.
pockets.
One up here and one below and one up, like
Exactly.
one up there. I'll show you there. One there and one there.
So I think there's enough room for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I could maybe fit 20 sets of needles. I have not ordered 20 sets of
Wow.
needles, but I could.
Those are great to have.
It is great to have. So I'm really, really thrilled with that. And
Yeah.
the way that it works to put it all together is that it folds up like this. You just roll it up.
And all your needles are in one spot.
And all the needles will be in one spot and hopefully not fall out. And then this just wraps around. And then you just kind of tuck the end through. That is not neat nor tidy, and I will redo it for sure. But that's what it is. So I'm happy that I was able to make one. Sometimes I find that I think, oh, I'd really like to have one of those. And then I just take a step back and go, could I do it myself? So I've made some project bags. And to be honest with you, normally I make project bags for other people. And I don't use them, or I make something for myself and I don't use it. So I have.
Well, the first year you started making project bags, Colleen would have like what do you call those baggies? Like the clear baggies, Ziploc baggie, and she'd make all these fantastic, wonderful knitting bags. You know, project bags. And I kept saying, "Why are you using plastic bags? I don't understand." So you are worthy of your own stuff.
Oh, thank you. So anyway, I have started. That's one of my goals for the next year is I've actually started using the project bags that I've made.
That's nice.
And
nice
it feels nice instead of putting it in a plastic thing. Obviously, if I'm going to the beach, I probably won't take my knitting. But if I do worried about something getting wet, then I definitely would use a Ziploc
Well,
bag.
I'm glad to see you using them. That's nice. That's great.
So those are my crafts. And May, how about yourself?
Now, last podcast we talked about the little styrofoam balls that I bought,
Right.
and the little hooks that you could get for them, and that was kind of cool. And then I wanted to have something that doesn't have the skill set, like with those crafts that you do. You need to have some. You need to crochet. You need to know how to sew. You need to have a serger. You don't need a serger, but you need to know how to sew.
Yeah.
Sewing machine.
Right.
Putting in all that thing, like complicated. I just want to keep it simple.
There you go.
So last podcast was about the styrofoam balls and how to decorate them, and something you can do with the grandkids. Mine's mostly child-oriented crafts. But so I finished decorating mine into a knitting needle.
Look what she did!
So, and you can put the little hook here so you can hook it up.
That's
you can make
brilliant.
smaller ones of these, and I just used skewers.
Really?
And put little beads on the end to make it look like
Oh my goodness, that's
So
beautiful.
You could do one color, like you could do all red and green and do your tree accordingly, whatever, with the grandkids. So that would be good. I did one of those.
Talented, my goodness.
Oh my goodness. So then I did a little one here that's just wrapped yarn around it.
That
like
looks
of a
great
string,
too.
And I just glued
I
it
really,
on.
really like that.
I went crazy with the crazy glue. I had crazy glue all over my fingers.
I'm surprised
But
you're
anyway.
not permanently attached.
You could do different colors if you wanted to have
I
a
know.
theme. So
It's
that was
really
kind of
nice.
So and there's a smaller one I did. I just did this with a little what's in there is just painter's tape rolled up.
Oh my goodness.
And then I wrapped painter's tape with some
It
leftover
definitely looks
yarn
like a
you
little ball
had.
of yarn. Yep.
And I used toothpicks and some little beads.
Oh, that's
So
brilliant.
you can have those on your tree too if
Right,
you're real
exactly.
since you're knitters out there. I know you are. I know you are.
There's always extra bits of yarn.
And these might be nice to give as a gift to
Right.
a knitter than your life.
Exactly, that's right.
And because this is one of our favorites that we got from Linda and Carrie. Linda made this, and it was made from yarn. And you, I don't know what she used, wax?
I think it was beeswax.
Beeswax. And what you do is you kind of glue the yarn in, and she put MC there, and she put us with a little car there. And so this may be the only gift that we're putting up. This may be the only tree ornament this year, because it's very strange with this COVID.
Yeah.
We're not seeing the kid. Well, we are seeing the kids, but we're gonna take them dinner instead of having them come for dinner.
Right.
But you know what? We're gonna be positive.
Yes,
and we're
we
gonna
are.
do the fun things, and this will make me smile.
That's
so
right.
thank you again, Linda. This is one of my favorites because it was homemade and very personalized with you and I in the car.
There
It's
we
kind of
go.
cool on our
Very
adventures.
good.
Now, because I did styrofoam,
Yes.
I was looking and I bought this I haven't used this yet, and maybe you out there have used it and see what you can do with this. I don't know if you know this, but I bought this.
That looks dangerous.
It does, but it's to cut styrofoam. I think
Really?
it melts it. And then you plug it in, it
Right.
gets heated up, and I've never tried it. So on my next craft adventure, that's what I'm going to do, is going to try
And if
cut
we're
some-
filming from the hospital.
Well, maybe I'll put on my GoPro and
Okay,
try this.
that's a good idea.
And show you my first experience with this thing. It does look like a needle or something,
It
doesn't it?
does look a little
Now,
dangerous.
that being said, that's the one I just got recently. I just bought this recently. But I went through my crafting things from years ago.
Right.
And this is similar idea.
Oh, wow.
What it is, it's batteries in here.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen this before.
I think I have. I think you
There's
should.
a battery in there.
Right.
And you put the lid on it.
Right.
And then you turn this on. There's an on and off switch here. It's
Okay.
on. It's on off right now.
Okay, perfect.
And then you put it on the on, and this little wire heats up,
Right.
and then you can cut styrofoam with the
Oh,
wire.
it looks like you're slicing some cheese. Kind of
Yeah.
the same thing. Yeah.
So that worked out really well, but I haven't used that in years. So I got the one there that I just showed you
Okay,
to see how that's going to
perfect.
work. So I'm thinking of a project with styrofoam. Maybe you have some ideas out there of
That would be
what you could
fantastic.
cut with styrofoam.
Yeah, we were just talking, crafting. We keep crafting, and then we think, do we have an idea for the next one? We're not sure. So if you have any crafting ideas for us, just comment down below. Give us an idea of something you want us to give a try.
With no skill set. I appreciate that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those are our craft adventures for this week. And next, we're going to talk about our souvenirs. My souvenirs this time come from the Little Red Mitten in St. Thomas. So they have all different ways that you can have things delivered. So either by Canada Post, or they can deliver it in St. Thomas, or deliver it in London, or you can do curbside pickup. So it was a beautiful day, there was no snow on the ground, and you and I decided we'll just take a drive out to St. Thomas. So I had ordered some things. So I had been working on a shawl using the leftover from May and my socks. And so you said you liked it, and it was very soft, and you'd love a cowl in it. So I thought, well, I can do that. So I ordered some yarn. So this is the marled part. It's Leo&Roxy, and it is called Leo Marl. That's what it's called. And then this is the plain color, and it is called Leo by Leo&Roxy. So I'm going to put these two together, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you a cowl, and then what I'm going to do is figure out what color you want in. You kind of like it looking like a work sock, but we're going to have a stripe. So it could be navy. I've got leftovers, so we'll
Usually
take a
it's
look at those.
red, but you can do black or navy and that type of thing.
Right.
Generally
I
it's red.
probably don't have red yarn. I'd have to buy some, but I've been known to buy yarn, so that's okay.
Once or twice. But
Once or twice.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'm looking forward to having the cowl.
Perfect.
So,
It'll be nice. So
Yeah.
we've just been discussing cowls. What's her favorite? How am I going to do it? So I think
You're
you
so
will
good
like
to
it.
me.
Well, you're worth it. Knit worthy is what she is. So those are my souvenirs. And how about for you, my dear?
Well, I know in a few podcasts ago I said, I haven't bought anything for a long time. Well, ever since then the floodgates have opened. I thought I haven't bought anything for a while. So, but I did buy a saw. I think the last one came to the door.
Yeah.
And then on this one I got a really neat gift. And I was so excited that I'm not even doing an unboxing of it.
Right.
Because it came and I was like, ah! Anyway, it's a GoPro 8. Black 8. It's
There
just a
it is.
little tiny thing. But it's going to do a lot of work. It's going to help us with the podcast. That was my rationale.
Right.
This will help us with the podcast.
Yes.
And on our adventures, when we start going on our walks, I want to check it out, see what kind of video it takes.
Right, absolutely.
I've only done things around the house, but
Right.
when we go on our first walk, I'll take this, because when I unboxed it, it came with an extra battery,
That's brilliant.
and it came with a little sticky thing, so I could stick this on a helmet, or I could stick
Oh,
it.
okay, that's cool.
Stick it on the
Very
car
good.
maybe or something.
Yeah.
And then it came with this one. I love it. It goes on your head.
You should see.
And then the camera goes on your head, and then I can walk around. And when we bake,
Yes.
I'm thinking, Colleen and I used to do cakes and baking, and somebody,
absolutely.
friend of ours, has kind of commissioned us to do some baking for the Christmas, because they're not healthy enough.
Right.
And so they asked if we would do some cupcakes. And so I might wear this doing some cupcakes when we do our baking.
All I'm saying is she better have a button that bleeps it out.
Yeah. But when we did the cakes, some of them were phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like my
we did
favorite
great.
was I had a vision. I always had the vision.
Yes.
And I always had these great big ideas, and
Yes.
Colleen would have to
Make it happen.
make it happen and do the detail part of it.
Right.
But the one I remember the most was the hockey bag cake. And we made it with fondant. Remember that?
I do.
And
It was
Rice
brilliant.
I made the ice skate out of a Rice Krispie squares.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was edible. The hockey stick. I made a puck a hockey puck out of Rice Krispie. We covered it with fondant.
Right.
And then we covered the hockey bag with brown fondant. It was phenomenal.
It was brilliant,
We
yeah.
made some really nice cakes.
We did.
Yeah. Anyway, so not to get off topic, but my GoPro is I'm going to try when we make these cakes to see cupcakes, and I can videotape
great
them and
idea.
show you, and our walk. So that'll be great.
Perfect.
So if that wasn't enough, coming with it, I was so
Then-
impressed with this.
Just like commercials. But
There's
more.
Oh yes, and it came with this. It's a little tripod and a little extender.
Okay.
So, but I thought I think I need more gadgets. That's
Okay.
what I thought. So I went online, Amazon, and I looked up GoPro, and I bought this case of gadgets. This little carrying case.
Wow,
It
it's
unzips. Now I haven't been able to go through all of it right now, but I'm so excited
It's full.
because it's full. It was like minimum amount of money. Like I don't know, like $25-$30
Something like that wasn't very
for
much.
like all this stuff. Like this is in case, of course, if we're on our kayak and
it falls into the water, it won't sink.
this will float.
Exactly.
You know, like so it's got like I don't know if you can see that, all kinds of things in there.
It is amazing.
And it's got this little bag, and it's got and I think it's got a chest strap. You can strap it to your chest.
Goodness.
It would
Wow.
be good when we walk. I think there's another head strap in there.
There you go.
So anyway, like it's just overflowing with things. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'm excited about that. And so those are my souvenirs, and I'm very excited. So I might stop buying for a while.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, those are our souvenirs. How is it going? You're going to be
Good.
able to
Yep.
get back in? Don't
Yep.
sip it. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
she did it. Look
Oh,
at
yeah.
her. She's amazing. Brilliant.
Voila.
Voila. So those are our souvenirs. We want to thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate when you come and spend time with us. If you like what you're seeing, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. Let us know what Christmas gifts you're making. Let us know what recipes you're making.
Please subscribe.
Exactly. Because we like when you come and spend time with us. So until next time.
You take care.